Hey, you fucking suck at support, and you know it. That's why you clicked on this video. This video is not going to be a basic guide. We're going to go more in depth on how to lane, and we're going to be focusing specifically on laning. We're going to talk about the heroes, and we're going to talk about the items. So if you are new to the game in general, I would recommend Obey the Papaya. He just put out a kind of a basic tutorial, and I'll put the link in the description below. Who's going to be playing with me today is my man up here, Clone. What's up, buddy? How are you?
My name is Jeff.
You can. What's
Uh,
your Twitch?
Clone Reformed.
Okay, so twitch.tv/clone reformed. He's the ADC main. So let's go ahead and start talking about the heroes, the archetypes, and we'll touch up on the items, and then we'll get into laning. But first, what is the primary purpose of the support role? Is it to sit back and play passive and keep the carries safe? No. If you play it like that, then you need to just play another role because this one's not for you. You should be playing this role pretty aggressively because your primary purpose as a support is to create openings for your carry or for whoever is going to carry the match to get them resources, to get them fed, and to get them ahead and in a position where they can carry the match. So the first archetype we have is caster supports. You've got Muriel, Decker, and Bellica. They all fall under this archetype and they all are actually pretty aggressive supports. Especially if you're playing into a melee support, you can play very aggressive. In this clip you see that I'm burning the wave down, trying to get wave advantage. And after we've got the casters down, we've got wave advantage, I'm going in for a trade. You see the Richter walks up here. If you notice to the right, we have minions pushing in. He goes for a trade, misses, I stun, and we're able to get a very, very sizable chunk. So with the caster support, you want to play aggressive, you want to play for the level 2. Keep in mind, I believe it's 9 CS, but it's the second wave, halfway through the second wave, that you'll hit level 2. If you can get that before the enemy duo does, you want to go for an all-in. And if you go for an all-in and hit your abilities at that point, typically that's going to force a flash or you're going to get a kill. Melee engaged supports, you've got Richter, you've got Steel, and you've got Narbash. Like I said, with the tank support, we just kind of want to have the lane kind of frozen right here. And if we can do that, then anytime I land a hook, we have the whole length of the wave to run people down and to go for an all-in. Yeah, the whole length of the lane, yeah. So you can see here we've got the lane right in front of our turret, and I'm able to thunk the Richter. The phase pool is already down at this point, and we just run him down. Inevitably, Clone has to flash to follow the Richter's flash, but we end up getting a kill. So once again, with tank engaged supports, because we can't freely poke, or we can't really poke as well as caster supports, we want to we still want to play for the level 2. We want to shove the wave under their turret, get level 2, and when the wave gets under their turret, it starts pushing back to us. The wave starts pushing back to us. So once it pushes back to us, we try to freeze it in front of our turret, and at that point we have the whole lane to play with. And if we land and engage on them, we can just run them down the whole lane because it takes the whole lane. We need as much of the lane as we can to get that kill. All right, you've got enchanter supports. You've got this bitch, FaZe. She's a positioning based character. In this clip, I chose to show you because it's she's stacked on her carry, and that's just a really bad thing to do. It kind of negates your pool. You need to play back. In this clip with Tim's,
Oh man,
he's playing far enough back.
Buggers.
The Richter tries to go in
Oh.
and then realizes that the pool's still up and ends up dying for it. So obviously phase is a little bit more complex than that, but I really wanted to convey to new players or people that play phase poorly is that you are uh, very much a positioning based hero. You need to stay back behind your carry. You don't really do that much damage, and you don't need to be close to do the damage that you do. Your Q, the blind, is applied on your carry through the link. Your E is super far range. Um, so those two abilities, you don't need to be up close and personal to do damage. And if you play like that, you're going to get yourself killed and you're going to get your carry killed. Tainted Totem is a anti-heal support item that you typically want to build on tanks because you're going to be up front. So this is an item that you're going to want to build against characters like Crunch or Countess or any carries that have a lot of lifesteal build. Galaxy Greaves is a mobility item for supports to help them roam. It's also a good item for champs that have low mobility. So for example, I would say characters like FaZe or Richter as supports can make use of this. Hexbound Bracers is a good anti-AD item for tanks that are mana dependent because it gives ability haste and then it also gives mana restoration when you take damage. Requiem is a stacking support item, so you want to build the component Hollow Braid early on and stack as fast as possible. It gives your ADC physical power and lifesteal when you complete it. It's good on caster supports as well as like Narbash because it gives a ton of mana regen, heal and shield power as well as magic power. Elefrost is an item that you don't build because it's troll. There's not really any good supports that can use this item right now. Wellspring is basically a heal on cast type item. Every time you cast an ability, you're going to heal your allies. This item really right now is good on like Muriel, FaZe, Narbash. I don't think tanks make good use of it currently. Crystal Tear is good on any of the supports that can heal or shield. So once again, that would be like Narbash, Muriel, and FaZe. And really, this item is pretty good if you're playing with a lot of AP characters, a lot of mages or AP magic damage champs. Or if you have a ability-based carry like Wraith or Twin Blast. Vanguardian is a tank support item. It makes your AD or your ADC get a little bit more tanky because it gives them physical armor and magic armor, or anybody around you really gets physical armor and magic armor. It's also a good way for you to obtain tank stats relatively cheap because the item itself is not very expensive. It's good on like Richter, Steel, Narbash, any of the kind of tank engage supports. True Silver Bracelet, really right now, the only support that I'd build this on is Narbash, and it's just to help prevent your ult from getting interrupted since it is a channel. Marshall's good with range, caster supports, and FaZe, right? So like Bellica, Decker, Muriel, FaZe right now can make use of this. And really, I think it's okay to build with any ADC for the most part, but it's certainly very, very good on characters that go on hit or ADCs that go on hit, like Twin Blast, Sparrow, all these carries that go a like attack speed on hit build rather than crit. So you definitely want to build this with a Sparrow or a Twin Blast for sure. Dynamo is a item that you're going to build on tanks that engage, right? So it just makes the enemy take 10% more damage when you hit them with a stun or a root or a knockup. So good on Richter, Steel, and maybe Narbash, but Richter and Steel definitely. As far as the support crests, really you can use pretty much any of them. They're all pretty decent, so just mess around with them, see which one you like, and see which ones work best in what situations, and try to feel that out yourself. Alright, shitters. So in this video, we're going to talk about when to push, when to freeze, when to roam, who to focus in fights, all this good stuff. The support role in Predecessor, iconically, has been the weakest. We have the least amount of skilled players in this role, and it's really frustrating playing dual lane with random support for sure. So one of the most important things, I think, is wave management, which no support does. Hardly any supports do any form of wave management. So I think this is a super, super important thing to utilize to get ahead in lane, and it's all left out on the table. Nobody's doing anything with it right now. So if you can learn to do some of these just small tricks, it should help you out.
Over this guy's stun. Still no dash.
Nice. So now we're gonna now that we've gotten a double kill in lane, we're gonna try to hard shove this in so my ADC can back and buy items, and he can get back to lane stronger than them, right? And the other thing about that too is that it's gonna deny them CS, as well as when the wave hits the turret, it's going to bounce back to us. And when we return from backing and buying, the wave is going to be on our side of the lane, which is exactly what you want. Once again, I just want to stress this. After you get a kill, you should back. Set yourself up to where you can back and back. Come back to lane with a purchased item, being stronger than them, and having an advantage. Your goal is to always try to create a advantageous position in your lane.
You can grab Braver if you like.
So right here, what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to help him clear the wave. You see how he's backing up because the wave's pushing. If he stays right here, if I'm able to... I just wanted to chime in real quick. As you can see, this guy's fucked. And it's because I threw a stun at a time that matters. I just wanted to... This is a little peeve of mine. If you're playing Decker and you're throwing stuns down the lane and yelling Kobe like that, you're griefing. Because the ADC can't follow up on it. The damage is very little. And now, if you guys get ganked, you're not going to have stun for the jungler. Stun him. See, now he's just dead if he doesn't have flash. This is the ideal time to try to stun somebody because not only are they tanking damage from both you and the ADC, they're tanking damage from the full wave. And that will allow them, I mean, they're just going to get burned down super quick. In this next clip, we're talking about stacking waves. So I want you to pay attention to two things. One, when our second wave stacks up on our pre-existing wave, you'll notice that I start pushing. Two, I miss pretty much everything, but because we have such a big wave and we're able to push into them, we get a kill. They lose basically to the wave, even though in this clip we are severely behind.
Alright, so what I'm doing here is setting up a slow push. We are behind, and they have advantage. So I'm trying to let my wave stack to the point where if they try and engage on us with a trade, our minion wave is going to be so big that they're going to take too much damage from minions and end up dying. So you want to actually try and bait here when we have this massive wave and try and get them to shoot you. So the minion wave runs at them. And now they're taking minion aggro as well.
Nice. So what about freezing now that we know about pushing? Freezing is done when you have two waves, like you just saw, stack up on each other, the enemy wave. If we keep 4 of them alive in this wave, and we continually drag the wave back up the lane a little bit, so it doesn't get under turret, we will hold a freeze. And you can see in this clip that we hold the freeze indefinitely. Now, in terms of when you want to freeze, when you get a lead in lane, when you've gotten a few kills in lane, and you've pushed the wave under their turret, let's say you come back after a buy, and you come back to lane and the wave is about to crash into your turret, that's a good time to freeze, because now you're ahead of them, you're stronger than them, and they're forced to kind of walk up into lane, maybe get ganked, or walk all the way down the lane, maybe get ganked, or maybe they just die in the 2v2, right? So holding a freeze like this can kind of force them to go rotate, and then when that happens, when they rotate, that's when you want to try to push the turret, right? Because now they're missing CS from the freeze, they've roamed, now you've pushed a wave in, they're missing that CS, and you might potentially get a tower, which is worth quite a bit of gold. So that's kind of what you want to do with freezing. It can be a very, very powerful tool to get you ahead in lane. Okay, let's talk about focusing the correct targets and when to change focus and all that type of stuff. So this is a big one, I think, for a lot of support players. So this is just a simple little level 2 trade. I see that I'm about to hit level 2. I'm looking for damage on the ADC since he's the damage dealer. I go ahead and throw my hook, and we hit level 2 as the hook's being thrown. Hit him with the Q, and I'm doing damage to him. Now right here, I know that he's going to fall down off the ledge, so he's not going to be able to do damage to me anymore. So now we turn onto the Rick, because both me and Clone are shooting the Rick, or hitting the Rick and doing damage to him, while they're not able to trade damage back. And you see I back up right there. Now you can see I've traded about half of my HP for half of both of their HP bars, which is a worth trade. Another thing to keep in mind too when it comes to trading is keeping track of enemy abilities. Once they use an ability, a key ability, and it's off the board for another 10-15 seconds, that's prime time to go in.
So now that Richter doesn't have a pull down, it's a good opportunity for Sockcap to look for a hook. Can he hit it?
I'll tank. The next thing I want to talk about is bounties. Yes, that's right, bounties. Bounties exist in Predecessor. You wouldn't know it because Smokey Ace and all of them over at Meta have no fucking visual indicator that people are worth more money when you kill them. That's right. If somebody is kill streaking, if they're 10-0, they're worth over like 1,000 gold. Okay? So it's very important to try to get those kills on your ADC. Even if you have to die as a support, it is 100% worth it. Think about it. A kill's worth 300 gold. If somebody's worth 1,000 gold, that's over 3 kills. So if you die, that's still a net gain, right? You're gifting 300 gold to them and you're getting 1,000 gold in return. Okay? So keep in mind, once again, it doesn't matter if you die as support. Your goal is to create opportunities, get resources on your carry, and get them to a point where they can carry a game. And if that's dying for a bounty, that's super worth.
Might be on Raptor.
Oh, this guy's got a bounty, by the way.
Does he?
Yeah.
Not anymore.
I'm trying to get behind you. This fight was maybe a little bit sloppy, but as soon as I got the opportunity to turn on the Drongo, I did, and we were able to kill him. And because of that, we're able to win this fight without anybody dying. So just remember, you always want to go on the key targets, the ones that do the damage. So primarily, it's going to be like an ADC or a mid laner that's fed, or maybe an assassin in the jungle that's fed. If you can burn those targets down so they don't get a chance to output the insane amount of damage that they have, typically you're going to win that fight. Okay, when it comes to gold buff and roaming, I don't really have good footage of roaming, but we've got this footage of us pushing the wave in. When you're going for gold buff, you want to push the wave in under turret, because what this does is it forces them to choose. He either has to give up this wave to contest gold buff, or he just gives it to us and takes the wave. But either way, he's going to miss something. If you leave the wave halfway in lane, they can contest for free. Another thing that I want to make perfectly clear is that when gold buff first spawns, it's worth 60 gold. So dying for that shit is not worth it ever. Please do not die for gold buff. If you can't contest it, or you think that they'll kill you on it, you just go ahead and give it to them, okay? Now keep in mind, gold buff is an objective that scales with time. So the further the match goes along, the more it's worth. But early on, you definitely don't want to die for it. Now, in terms of roaming, I don't know if you can see, but the wave is pushed all the way up to turret. If we were to back right here, me and Clone, by the time we got back to lane, the wave would be right in front of the turret. So in terms of roaming, this is really the only time that I'm comfortable roaming as a support, is when we've pushed the wave into the turret, when we've gone for a back. Sometimes I'll go ahead and just run into mid lane, try to see if I can get a gank. But if I can't do anything or accomplish anything with that, I don't sit around and stay in mid lane. I get right back to dual lane, right back to supporting my ADC, right? The only time that I would ever recommend giving up on your ADC is if he's just worthless. And if you've got somebody else on your team that could possibly carry, then that is time where you can maybe roam around and abandon him and leave him to his own devices. Anyway, that's honestly it for me in terms of what we've got in this video. I think it's pretty decent. I'm going to leave Clone's link down below to his stream, my link down below to my stream as well. You're always welcome to come by and ask me any sort of questions while I'm streaming. We stream pretty late at night. Then I'll also leave a link to Obey the Papaya's YouTube video, where he has a more basic guide about just the game itself and how it functions. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. Love you. Bye. Stop griefing my fucking games.